Ahead on Full Contact Fighter, the countdown is on to Pride Grand Prix 2000. Ken Shamrock is back and looking for a fight. And WEF and the UFC getting ready for big-time cards in the Midwest. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Full Contact Fighter. I'm Michael Landsberg. Joining me, Full Contact Fighter newspaper editor Joel Gold. Nice to see you, Joel.
Great to be here, Michael.
Great to be back for a full season of Full Contact Fighter, the show dedicated specifically to mixed martial arts and no-holds-barred fighting, unquestionably the fastest-growing sport in the world today.
You better believe it. With Canada, U.S., Brazil, Japan, new promotions popping up everywhere. This is a true sign that this is the sport of the future.
We have got so much to talk about today. The return of Ken Shamrock, UFC, World Extreme Fighting. But first of all, Pride Grand Prix 2000 from Japan. The pay-per-view comes up on May the 13th.
And what an incredible card it is. We have the return of Ken Shamrock and an unbelievable 8-man tournament. You have the likes of Mark Kerr, Mark Coleman, and the legendary Royce Gracie. And let's not forget knockout artist Igor Vovchanchyn. This promises to be one of the greatest nights of fighting in NHB history.
It's already begun. It started back in January. 16 amazing fighters going head-to-head in 8 first-round bouts. Winner advanced to round number 2. We'll start with Gary Goodridge in the black trunks, facing Tachi Hikari wearing blue. Right from the start, Goodridge is the aggressor, throwing that big overhand right and landing. On the ground, Goodridge is able to find the side mount. He works on Tachikari and using his strength starts working his forearm under the big man's chin. He sinks the forearm choke and Tachikari taps. An impressive win for Big Daddy Goodridge. Now on to what was probably the most entertaining bout on the card. Igor Vovchanchyn in the black trunks facing rugged Alexander Otsuka in the white.
He threw his own punch, and Igor caught it with his.
The two heavyweights mix it up, and Igor starts landing the big right hand. Bang! It's amazing. Otsuka is still standing. When they go to the ground, Otsuka gets a rise from the crowd when he goes for a submission. Triangle or an armbar. He's got to be really careful. Vovchanchyn defends well and goes on to win a hard-fought decision over Otsuka. Heavily favored, Kazushi Sakuraba in the orange trunks was supposed to have an easy time with former UFC champion and King of Pancrase Guy Mezger. But Mezger has all the answers. Sakuraba goes for the single leg takedown. But Mezger fends him off and goes for Sakuraba's arm. He doesn't get it. And now it's Sakuraba's turn to look for a submission. Mezger pulls out of the attempt, gets back on his feet, and then back in for a front guillotine.
Round 1 ends. Mezger's camp argues with officials over the rules, so Sakuraba advances.
Finally, the legendary Royce Gracie makes his return to competitive no-holds-barred fighting, facing Japanese pro wrestler Takada. There's not much action here. Takada is content to lie in Gracie's guard without generating much offense. Gracie managing to strike a little bit from the bottom, but neither man is able to mount much offense in this bout. Gracie wins the decision, but it's guaranteed his next fight won't be so easy. We really didn't see that much from Royce Gracie. Did you expect to see more from him?
Well, Royce hasn't been in the ring for quite a while now, but he was pretty much true to form. He likes to close the distance and take his opponent down to the ground. That's where he lives. Unfortunately, Takada had different plans and looked like he just wanted to survive.
You know, Joel, it doesn't get any easier for Royce Gracie. In the second round, he's got to face the Japanese superstar, Kazushi Sakuraba.
Sakuraba, one of the toughest fighters around today, and he's already proven that by beating the young phenom Vitor Belfort, and just recently beating Royce Gracie's brother, Royler Gracie. This is going to be a tough match and one you're really going to want to watch.
We'll focus more on Gracie Sakuraba on next week's Full Contact Fighter. Meanwhile, Igor Vovchanchyn and Big Daddy Gary Goodridge both look very good in their first-round matches.
They sure did. These two have met once before, with Vovchanchyn, the heavy hitter, rocking Big Daddy's world. But Big Daddy claims he has something in store for Vovchanchyn this time.
Should be great. Still to come, more highlights from Tokyo. Ken Shamrock returns to no-holds-barred competition. And the WEF and UFC get ready for their big summer shows.
The most radical, no-holds-barred fighting event ever comes to America. The Pride Fighting Championships 2000. The world's toughest of the tough. Prove who's number one. The long-awaited return of Ken Shamrock. Plus, see Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, Brazilian legend Royce Gracie, the Russian machine Igor Vovchanchyn, plus Japanese sensation Sakuraba and Fujita from the massive Tokyo Dome. The biggest fighting event ever. Only on pay-per-view. Coming Saturday, May 13th.
This was the scene at the Tokyo Dome. A spectacular opening to the Pride Grand Prix 2000. Some of the world's best fighters were on hand. Japanese favorite Takada, Royce Gracie, Enson Inoue, Mark Kerr, Alexander Otsuka, Igor Vovchanchyn, and Masaki Satake. What a spectacle. Let's move now to the second four matches that would decide who moves on to the Elite Eight at Pride Grand Prix 2000. Clearly, the two men to watch out for, the Americans, Mark Kerr and Mark Coleman.
He's got some good stuff.
Former UFC champion Mark Coleman wearing the black trunks, taking on Japanese kickboxing star Masaki Satake. Coleman is one of the favorites here, and he looks to be in great shape, taking Satake to the ground. Coleman is in control on the mat and looks for a neck crank, an incredible display of power. Satake taps. Coleman is the easy winner. Here's Akira Shoji working in Ebenezer Braga's guard. This is a tactical battle with neither man able to get the upper hand. Braga tries a kick, and Shoji comes right back, landing a kick of his own. The bout goes to a decision, and Shoji is declared the winner. Japanese wrestler Fujita having his way with Dutchman Hans Nijman. Nijman is on the ground, and Fujita tries to pass the guard, and he does, moving himself into a side mount. Fujita is a powerful man on the ground, and he goes for the choke. Nijman tries to fend him off, but he has no success. He taps out. An impressive win for Fujita. And in a battle between two of the world's top ground fighters, Enson Inoue on the left against wrestler extraordinaire Mark Kerr on the right. Most of this fight is spent with Kerr in Inoue's guard. Kerr is content to ground and pound the crafty Inoue, who is always a danger to lock on a submission hold at any moment. It goes to the judges' cards, and Mark Kerr is the winner by decision. The specimen advances. Joel, Kerr and Coleman look so strong. Do you see either one of these guys as being beatable?
Yes, could be, but it's going to take somebody who's at the top of their game to take either one of these guys out.
One of the fascinating stories is that Kerr and Coleman are both friends. They have trained together, they have fought together, they have worked together. What happens if they fight each other in the semifinal?
Well, these guys are true competitors, and let's not forget, there's a lot of wood at stake here. So when that bell rings, believe me, these two are going to go at it.
All right, the final bracket. Kazushi Sakuraba against Royce Gracie.
I think Sakuraba is the better fighter, but with no time limits in Royce's fights, he has the advantage.
Gary Goodrich and Igor Vovchanchyn.
Oh boy, a war. They will be a-flying.
Akira Shoji and Mark Coleman.
Shoji, a survivor, but Coleman just too strong.
Fujita against Mark Kerr.
Both guys will look to take the fight to the ground, with Kerr the stronger wrestler.
We are definitely looking forward to this card. Now, if you can't be at the arena, the Tokyo Dome, you can catch this card on pay-per-view. Saturday, May 13th is the date. Call your local pay-per-view supplier for times in your area. And still to come, Ken Shamrock comes back to the no-holds-barred arena. And World Extreme Fighting gets ready for WEF 9.
You've seen it on pay-per-view.
You've seen it on video.
It's the ultimate fighting event of the millennium.
It's World Extreme Fighting.
World-class explodes into Roberts Stadium in Evansville, Indiana.
Saturday, May 13th at 6 p.m.
Watch an all-star Carter Fighters 2 battle in the Octagon.
Witness the grudge match between Dan the B7 and Conan Silvera.
And so don't miss World Extreme Fighting 9.
Saturday, May 13th at 6 p.m.
Roberts Stadium,
Evansville, Indiana.
11 hardcore fights.
Full Contact Fighter is the undefeated, no-holds-barred news source from around the world. See why fighters and fans alike call it the Bible of no-holds-barred news. Each issue is packed with fighter interviews and live coverage from fights around the world. Also, from Full Contact Fighter, walk like a champion, dress like a champion with Full Contact Fighter clothing and videos, all the best from all over the world. Call today, 718-661-3357, or visit our website at www.fcfighter.com.
The world most dangerous man, WWF superstar, Ken Shamrock, Pride, Pats Kenja.
Ken Shamrock is one of the biggest names in the no-holds-barred fighting world. He parlayed stardom in the UFC into superstardom as a professional wrestler in the WWF. Now at 36 years of age, he's returning to his roots and giving the fight game one more chance.
From a troubled childhood in group homes and orphanages, he became a legend, fighting for survival on the streets, fighting for fame in the UFC, a superstar in the World Wrestling Federation. He's come back to the no-holds-barred world to complete some unfinished business.
I'd just like to say that I've been out of commission in this no-holds-barred for about 4 years. And I've been watching it on TV, I've been watching it in the locker rooms when I'm with the WWF, and it's been burning inside of me the way I left no-holds-barred. I didn't leave on my terms. I left on somebody else's terms. So I have one announcement to make. And that announcement is that I have signed a deal with Pride to fight 2 fights.
I'm risking a lot, but I mean, that's what people say. I'm risking a lot. Here I had a great job, a great character. Things are going great for me now. I'm going back to no holds barred where I stand a chance I could lose. Losing is not what it's all about. It's being able to live out your dreams and do the things that you want to do in life. And I am one of those people that are, few people that are fortunate to be able to do the things that I want to do in life.
His decision to return to the fighting game has sparked debate all over the world, and not everyone thinks he's made the right decision by coming back.
We talked about it a lot last time we talked, and I just, I think it's a bad move. I think everyone thinks it's a bad move. But I think, I think he's hard-headed. I think he's very, very proud and has a huge, huge ego. I think he needs to come back for himself to try. He never won the big one. I think he wants to come back and try and win that big one. I just don't think it's done. I think it's done. He needs to let it go.
His time has passed. He needs to get on and go to do his WWF stuff and make money doing that. That's his thing now. Guys are getting so good now, it's a different style of fighting. I mean, it's a new generation of fighters. That's what it has become. So his time's over.
I understand what they're saying, and personally, I was one of the ones that said, at age 30 or 32, you should be thinking about getting out, not getting back in. And I would tell anybody that when they first come in, hey, you're a little old to be getting started. It's true, and their thoughts are true. I know what they're thinking. I'm not doing it just to come back and do it. I'm doing this for a reason. One is it's in my blood. It's what I got to do to finish and go out the way I want to go out. And like I said, I'm going in and fighting and do what I love to do.
Shamrock will be fighting in the Pride 2000 Grand Prix. His opponent will be highly regarded Japanese star Alexander Otsuka.
So this fight for me is going to be, a real awakening. It's not going to be one of those ones where I'm going to go out there and just destroy this kid. But I will go out and fight. I guarantee you this will be a good fight. It's going to be like a street fight. That's the way I fight. That's the way I'm going to fight. And you ain't going to see much skill. Straight up ass kicking. I know how to do that. I've done it all my life.
Shamrock's training regimen has been especially grueling. At 36, his body does not perform or recover like it used to. It's been a tough road back, but he's willing to pay the price for himself and his sport.
Hopefully, and this is what I'm hoping, that by my coming back and fighting, that it would give the no-holds-barred world a shot in the arm, because I'm bringing in people from the mainstream who didn't know anything about no-holds-barred, who are fans in the WWF, who are going to be interested in seeing what is going on, and they're going to turn the TV on and they're going to go, wow, this is great. And it's going to be enough audience to where it's going to bring it back.
You know, he's actually risking more than you may think. If he loses, it will hurt his wrestling character as well, and that should cost him money down the road.
Hey, that's a decision he has made. If he's willing to take that risk, you have to respect a man like that.
We are so much looking forward to the match and the card. Keep in mind the date, May 13th, and look forward to it on pay-per-view. And still ahead, Conan Silveira headlines World Extreme Fighting 9. And it's Hizzo and Randleman getting ready for war at the next UFC.
The most radical, no-holds-barred fighting event ever comes to America. The Pride Fighting Championships 2000. The world's toughest of the tough prove who's number one. The long-awaited return of Ken Shamrock. Plus, see Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, Brazilian legend Royce Gracie, the Russian machine Igor Vovchanchyn, plus Japanese sensation Sakuraba and Fujita from the massive Tokyo Dome. The biggest fighting event ever, only on pay-per-view. Coming Saturday, May 13th.
Full Contact Fighter is the undefeated, no-holds-barred news source from around the world. See why fighters and fans alike call it the Bible of no-holds-barred news. Each issue is packed with fighter interviews and live coverage from fights around the world. Also, from Full Contact Fighter, walk like a champion, dress like a champion with Full Contact Fighter clothing and videos, all the best from all over the world. Call today, 718-661-3357, or visit our website at www.fcfighter.com.
World Extreme Fighting has become a force in the no-holds-barred fighting world in just a couple of years. The promotion has made its mark by having a combination of great young fighters and experienced veterans. And WEF 9 is no exception.
World Extreme Fighting has slowly become a major player in the small but elite world of no-holds-barred, building its reputation around the matchmaking of promoter Jamie Levine. Levine's WEF cards not only attract the best from the NHB world, but just as important, their matchups are always competitive. Headlining WEF 9 will be Marcus Conan Silveira versus Dan Severn for the WEF Super Heavyweight title. Silveira won the belt at WEF 7, defeating Maurice Smith. The win avenged a previous defeat and established Silveira as one of the fighting world's elite big men.
Everything comes from, what do you choose in life? I choose to be a good fighter. I choose to be in between the best fighters, and that's what I try every day. So I put my mind, and I make my mind work this way for everything I do relate to my work. So if I train, I like to train hard. If I run hard. If I box hard. I do everything that takes me to crossing the line to the average, person.
Also on the card will be Brazilian sensation Pele Landi, taking on Dave Money. Pele is considered to be, pound for pound, one of the top NHB fighters in the world.
He's in good shape. He doesn't quit. You know what I mean? And he's constantly in your face, fighting. He's like your typical Latin type fighter that comes straight at you, doesn't quit, doesn't back up, and those make exciting matches.
Canadian superstar Carlos Newton will also be fighting. He's won in the UFC, Pride, and numerous other fighting promotions. His opponent will be WEF veteran Carl Schmidt.
He surges a lot. I think I'm a more flowing kind of person. And it's for me to exploit those power surges he has, and that when he comes at me like a train, just not be there. And when he's suppress his powers in a resting state, be on top of him, be in his face.
This is Newton's first WEF appearance, so he's looking to impress his new audience with body and mind.
My body is just the vehicle for my mind, and the more I sharpen my mind, the more I understand myself, and the more I try to open up the secrets that are locked up inside of it, then you get better at it. That's what I like about it.
Our Canadian viewers can tune into WEF9 on Viewers' Choice Canada Saturday, May 27th at 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, and then once again at midnight Eastern, that's 9 o'clock Pacific time. Call your local pay-per-view provider for times in your area. Now, Conan Silveira and Dan Severn is an intriguing match. How do you see it?
Well, Severn has been around this game for many years. He's not the same fighter that he used to be, but surely he could frustrate any top fighter out there today.
He's facing Conan Silveira. How do you see his strengths?
Well, Conan is a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That's Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So his strengths are obviously on the ground.
Anyone else on this card you like?
Oh, this is an incredible card. We have a kid on the card by the name of Jens Pulver. I call him the Pulverizer because he pulverizes everybody. And his stablemate, Matt Hughes. This guy is worth the price of admission alone. He will pick up a fight and slam them to the ground for an appetizer, and usually finish them off with a powerful ground attack fortified with punches.
Well, what an amazing card, and don't forget, in Canada, it's pay-per-view, viewer's choice, May the 27th. Also, don't forget, Ultimate Fighting Championship has another card coming up in June. Headlining that card, Kevin Randleman, Pedro Hizzo, again.
UFC heavyweight champion Kevin Randleman will be headlining the next UFC, scheduled to take place in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This would be the second year in a row that the UFC has come to the Midwestern city. Randleman's opponent will be Brazilian Pedro Hizzo. Hizzo is adept at both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing, and he's used both skills to earn victories in the past. The two men were supposed to fight at the last UFC, but Randleman injured himself just hours before the fight. This time, Randleman is sure the bout will happen, and as usual, he's full of confidence.
Not one man on God's green earth right now would be able to touch me, especially in a street brawl. I will kick anyone's ass in the street right now. But because of the rules in the octagon, you know, you can't do this and you can't do that, and they put you up. If I take you down, you're not getting up for one.
Also appearing on the card will be UFC lightweight champion Pat Militek. The Croatian sensation is considered one of the most well-rounded and cerebral fighters in the sport.
For me, I don't look at it as violence. I look at it as me testing my skills against another human being who's trained in the same thing I am. Same thing as a tennis match. It's a competition. It is a rough sport, and you are going to get knocked around a little bit, and that's part of the sport. But it's just competition to us. To the fan, it might be, somebody getting the heck beat out of them. But to us, it's competition, testing our skills, and trying to be the best at something in the world that we want to be the best at.
Don't forget, June 9th is the date from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. As always, with UFC cards, it should be memorable. Hizzo, Randleman, what a great-looking match. What an intriguing match. Who do you like?
Well, this is the classic matchup between wrestler and striker. Randleman needs to get this fight to the ground and impose his will, whereas Hizzo wants to keep this fight standing. This one's a tough one to call. This is going to be a real, true battle.
We'll have more on the UFC as we get closer to the date. And if any of you have comments or questions for us, you can email us at fcfnews@aol.com or visit our website at fcfighter.com. Coming up next week on Full Contact Fighter, more on the Pride Grand Prix, including a close-up and personal look at Canadian Big Daddy Gary Goodridge. Until next time, I'm Michael Landsberg for Joel Gold, and hold on to it. Give it to me.
Full Contact Fighter, the #1 no-holds-barred news source of the world.
We'll see you next time.
Facilities courtesy of Florida Jacks in Toronto. Refuse to lose at Florida Jacks.